Greetings, denizens of the Beneos Battleverse. I'm Matt. If you've been on the Discord, you've seen me roaming around, moderating and troubleshooting on behalf of Beneos users. Today, I'd like to make a little video and explain how Foundry handles data, how to know if what you've imported as a new user is working, and a little bit of the foundational knowledge of how to use this stuff. So, first of all, a little disclaimer. I am not a programmer. I am a spirited amateur. A lot of the language I use is not programmer language. If I misspeak, or if I say something wrong, feel free to let me know. I'll adjust the video if I can. But this is, in my experience, how things work. So hopefully, we'll all learn something together. Okay, let's get started. So on the screen here you can see a little table of contents about how we're going to go about this today. We're going to talk about how Foundry handles data. The first thing we're going to talk about is what data is native to a scene. Walls, lights, ambient sounds, drawings, fog of war. That data is stored with a scene. Not to be confused with journals and actors. That data is stored separately from a scene. We use a module like Scene Packer to pack a scene together so that we can export it from one world to another. Without that kind of a concept or module, the journal entries and actors will be orphaned. They won't know what they represent. They might show up on your map, yes, but they won't have any data. They won't be able to perform any of the functions we want them to perform. That's the role Scene Packer plays in the Beneos module. Okay, so now we know why we have Scene Packer and why it's so important. We know what data is native to a scene. We're going to look at a scene so that we can see what we're talking about. So what we're doing here is importing our maps, either from the compendium or in this case from Moulinet, but it makes no difference. As long as you have the module installed, updated, and activated, you will get Scene Packer to unpack your scenes and place journals on the map and link them to the journals in your journal sidebar. Now, what I have here on the screen in front of us is Argynvost, first floor, central. This has been unpacked with Scene Packer for the first time, but I'm running vanilla Foundry without mods, and one thing that a lot of our new users run into is they say, well, I don't see any of the journals. Over here, you can see the journal note control. If you click it, there's a little pin. This pin controls whether or not journals are shown on a scene. Now, because I've clicked it, when I go off of it, the journal notes stay on the scene. There is a module called Show Notes that's very useful because it automatically makes sure that that is enabled for all your scenes. Okay, so now we have a scene, we have a map background, we have all of our journal entries. This is the first time I've unpacked this scene. So looking at these different things, we have guides out there online in the Discord to show you how this all works and what they are, but we're going to talk about using them. So we've got some handouts represented by a little eyeball. We've got some multi-level token teleport activators represented by the little door, and then we've got these mountains and these arrows. Now these are, in this case, these arrows are point of interest teleporter nav nodes. What they allow us to do is to seamlessly move from scene to scene without having to go up to the top of the screen or to your scene sidebar and pick the correct scene out. But there are two things to remember here. First, the first time you unpack a scene or activate a scene and Scene Packer unpacks it, your POI nav nodes will not be active. When you right click on them, they won't do anything. Because to activate them, you have to navigate away from the scene and come back to it. That causes them to go live. You also have to remember that the other scene you're trying to navigate to must also be unpacked. It seems obvious, but if you forget to unpack the connecting scenes, you won't go to it. If you ever right-click a POI nav node and it takes you to a random, potentially non-Beneos scene somewhere in your sidebar that you didn't intend to go to, it's likely not connected correctly. Point of interest teleporter module is looking for the correct scene to go to and can't find it, so it sends you to typically, I think alphabetically, a random scene or alphabetically the first one in your seeds. So, what we're going to do here is activate another scene, unpack it, and then make sure we can navigate with our POI nav nodes back and forth. So here we've got Argynvost 1F West. We're going to go ahead and activate this scene as well. And as I do, what you'll see is the blue bars that we talk about from Scene Packer talking about unpacking and relinking those journal entries. And then it says all done. If you don't get the blue bars, Scene Packer has not been able to do its work, and you'll have to redo it. You can close this journal entry out, just don't delete it. And now I have on my screen the outside of Argynvost. Again, these navigation nodes will not work until I navigate away and come back one time. A suggested workflow is to import the pack that you want to use, go through and activate all the scenes so they unpack with Scene Packer, come back to the first scene, and then test. Okay, back to first floor central. We view the scene, we see everything, and now our point of interest teleporter nav nodes are functional. Here we go. Right click, view scene. I'm now on the 1F West HD battle map. Want to go back to central, right click, view scene. Using this technique, with the way we've linked these maps, you can navigate all the way around. Say your players, using Theater of the Mind, want to walk through the sceneries and scout around all of the Argynvost grounds. You can actually walk them around almost the entirety of the outside of the building, bring them back to the front before they go in. It's all in how you want to present the maps and scenes to your players. Our next item to test is our multi-level token teleporters. Here I have our little player test token on the map. So what we're going to do is test this multi-level token teleporter by moving the player into the teleportation zone and clicking on our little teleport activator. Now this journal node has no information per se, but functions as a control mechanism because your players can't see the green bounding boxes of the teleport zone like the DM can. They just see the stairs. But they can see, if the journal permissions are correct, this little door, this little teleport activator. And when the players are ready to move, they just click on the box and they go to the next scene. We can test this by going to our POI navigator here and clicking View Scene. That takes us to the scene. We see our little test token. They open the door. In they go. The default behavior for a multi-level token teleporter is to activate via map node. If you want to modify this behavior, you simply go up to the pencil icon because all it is a drawing. You double-click the drawing of the teleport zone, go to the multi-level tab, and you can see here the data that's stored inside this drawing that multi-level tokens offers us: in, out, where it's going by scene number, and activate via map node. If you uncheck that box, that teleport zone will teleport a token as soon as it walks in, regardless if it wants to or not. Some DMs prefer this. I know my players would be running around the scenes like crazy people. So use at your own risk. Okay, so we've covered the importing process with how Foundry stores data, how Scene Packer unpacks our scenes, some of the basics of navigating around our maps with POI navigators once you've unpacked successfully, and using the multi-level token teleporters. Go ahead, try it out. If you want to see a lot of them, Ben went crazy with the Ravenloft Castle maps. You can go through there and find teleporters, you can find POI nav nodes, you can navigate that entire map in Theater of the Mind, you can navigate it entirely in battle maps, you can mix it, you can match it. The additional functionality of the navigators and the teleporters really sets Ben's beautiful art apart from other creators, in my opinion. And thank you for watching. Hopefully more videos to come. We'll see you soon.